Cameron Holmes, welcome home. Welcome to a very special edition of the AZ Wildcats podcast, partially live from Studio K. I got my guy, Damon Fairall, a.k.a. Damon Dog, with me on a football Sunday, which might be sacrilegious to those that celebrate, but we're here for a very special occasion. And that is because Tommy Lloyd has waved his magic wand once again and has landed an in-state stud recruit, this time by the name of Cameron Holmes. We're here to break it all down. Who is Cameron Holmes? What does he bring to Tucson? And what this could mean for the future of the Arizona Wildcats. Let's start here. Damon, how are we doing this fine Sunday?
Feeling good, Kevin. Definitely wishing Cameron Holmes maybe picked a specifically different day of the week than today. But, we're having a good time. And we're just excited that the Arizona Wildcats and Tommy Lloyd landed another blue chip prospect in the form of Cameron Holmes, in the form of another in-state recruit, which that's near and dear to my heart. That's what I care about at the end of the day. So means more from the guys from Arizona.
It certainly does. So let's go ahead and get started right here. Who is Cameron Holmes? What does he bring to the table? He's a 6'6" small forward from Goodyear, Arizona. He plays for Millennium High. He plays alongside five-star number one prospect in the class of 2028, Aiden Diggs, on a very strong team. Holmes has 6'9" wingspan. He is still a senior in high school, so he theoretically could grow a little bit more just yet. Currently listed at 6'6" with a 6'9" wingspan. Number 33 overall player nationally, the fourth best player in the state of Arizona in his class, and the 14th highest rated small forward in the 2026 class per 24/7 Sports. Unique thing about Cameron Holmes is he's a lefty. He's kind of a do-it-all kind of a player. He has a very well-rounded game. He can score a little bit from multiple levels of the court. He's a really good athlete. He has a really high IQ, underrated passing ability as well, and overall, a really good motor. I'd be remiss to not mention his brother, Deron Holmes II, who plays for the Denver Nuggets in the NBA right now, who spent 3 years in Dayton, which is why, spoiler alert, Cameron Holmes had Dayton in his top three alongside Arizona and North Carolina. So Tommy Lloyd gets it done again. Welcome Cameron Holmes to Tucson. Damon, how excited are you for the prospect that is Cameron Holmes?
Very excited. I mean, I think it's a great start to your class, right? And Arizona did something similar last year in regards to Dwayne Aristode. I think that this is a little bit better of a prospect than Dwayne Aristode, not by a significant margin, but you're looking at a really, really good 4-star tweener 5-star player. And when I had the pleasure of watching Cameron Holmes at Section 7 over the summer, you're right. That well-rounded aspect of his game really did shine out, particularly that passing ability, that playmaking ability. He was almost a de facto point guard for Millennium, despite having some other really good players on that roster. He felt like he was taking the ball up, every time up the court. His usage was insanely high, and he looked very efficient in doing so. Also bears noting that there were Arizona coaches and personnel huddled around Cameron Holmes at that Section 7 tournament, watching him, locked in on what Cameron Holmes had going on. So I think it's been pretty clear that Arizona's been on Cameron Holmes for a minute here. It's good to get another big time in-state prospect locked up. And now it's on to Cameron Williams.
It sure is. Let's talk a little bit about what this does mean for the 2026 class. This is Tommy Lloyd's first official hard commit for the class of 2026. Currently, you got offers out there for players that are being talked about in the chat. Like our guy Roberto is saying, imagine Cameron Holmes, Cameron Williams, the two Cams, and then you got Caleb Holt as well, potentially mixed in there. The 2026 class could on paper, be incredible, right? Talk about 5-star number 1 player in Florida, Caleb Holt, who played under Tommy Lloyd for Team USA. There's a little bit of a familiarity there as well. But getting back to Cameron Holmes, this is a big deal because Arizona's roster is going to be emptied out next season. The departures of players like Jaden Bradley, Koa Peat, the potential departures of players like Dwayne Aristode and Ivan Karchenkov, even though they could be multiple year players at Arizona, you could have another small forward position that's loaded like this year, next year with Cameron Holmes.
Give me Ivan Karchenkov year 2. Feed it to me.
Either one. Dwayne Aristode year 2 next to Cameron Holmes. Both of them next to Cameron Holmes. It's very good. But we mentioned his brother Duran playing multiple years for Dayton. This could be theoretically a player that plays 2 or 3 years at Arizona, right? I would not rule out him being a one and done. He does come from a very high pedigree background. He has really high IQ. Obviously, the resources his brother gives him access to by being in the NBA puts him at an advantage as well. But like I said, he's well-rounded, but he's not necessarily elite at any one given skill. So it does feel like he might end up staying 2 years at Arizona before going to the pros. How big could that be, Damon? Having a player like Cameron Holmes, who is very high pedigree, kind of a do-it-all kind of a player, plays with a lot of attitude as well, not shy to let his opponents know when he thinks he has their number. How big could it be if he stays 1 or even 2 years for the U of A?
Yeah, I mean, it would be massive, right? And you look at his brother. His brother obviously did not have like the high pedigree coming out of high school. Duran Holmes, looking at his ranking here, didn't even receive a ranking, Kevin, from 247 Sports in the composite or from just 247 Sports in general before he went to Dayton. And I think that was a big reason why Dayton was a high consideration as well, is because of his brother's process and how he developed from being that, underrated, not ranked player to an NBA prospect in 3 years. And I think that that's somewhat probably my guess is, and this is not speaking from a place of knowledge, that their family is locked in on that development aspect of, their game, their kids' games. And I think that Cameron Holmes, like, they're probably looking at Tommy Lloyd, looking at the program that Arizona has and the development that has been shown with these prospects in the short time that Tommy Lloyd's been coach. Why wouldn't that be the guy that you want to trust with your son's development moving forward? I feel like Tommy Lloyd is the perfect coach if you want a developer. He's the perfect, Arizona is the perfect program if you want, to play the highest level of college basketball. And that's basically the perfect marriage for almost any prospect. Like, why shouldn't every single high-level recruit want to come to Arizona?
It's well said, and I think Cameron Holmes is cut from that Koa Peat kind of a cloth in the sense that he wants to play at the highest level. He wants the biggest stage against the best opponents to really showcase the mettle that he has, the skill set that he has. And when asked by the Twin Takes podcast 3 months ago as to, who his favorite player is that he's ever played against or with, this is what Cameron Holmes had to say about Arizona's Koa Peat. He said, Koa is such a complete player. He has that absolute will and drive to win every single game that he plays. He plays at such a high level. And I think that this is another domino effect of Tommy Lloyd's high-level recruiting. We talked about how securing a player like Koa Peat continues that elite pipeline at the University of Arizona, shows the best players not only in the state of Arizona, but across the country, across the world, dare I say, that Arizona is the place to go to develop your skills into a professional basketball player. And I love to see the reverence that a guy like Cameron Holmes from the state of Arizona loves Arizona high school basketball. If you ask him about it, he thinks it's the best state right now for talent at basketball. It's good to see that he has such reverence for Koa Peat and obviously by proxy for the University of Arizona. This is a massive, I think, recruitment for Tommy Lloyd, considering you don't have any commitments for 2026. Damon, does it matter at all to you that he said that about Koa Peat, that he has that reverence, or are you just kind of happy that he committed to Arizona by any means necessary?
Reverence for Koa Peat. Sounds like he's been listening to the AZ Wildcats podcast as we get up here and just get religious with it every single time that we're talking Arizona basketball. Every time we're talking about my guy, Koa Peat, our king, as Kevin likes to say, Koa Peat. But yeah, I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's cool. It obviously means nothing at the end of the day, but I do think that there is somewhat of a tight knit community when it comes to the basketball community, the football community out here in Arizona. It's a very fast growing state in terms of high school athletics. Like, you're seeing more and more families out in this state. So I think you're seeing more and more talent. That's why you see football, players that are going to USC consistently, whereas 20 years ago, that was never a thing, right? And same thing in basketball over the last 10 years or so. And yeah, the Holmes family is a good indication of that. You can look at the Williams family as well, Kevin, Jalen Williams, Cody Williams, who was the number one recruit, whether that was deserved or not. He was still a 5-star. But there's just a lot of talent coming out of Arizona consistently in the high school ranks right now. And yeah, it's cool to see that Arizona continues to be that program that funnels these elite recruits into Tucson rather than, whereas in football, right, the big thing is that all these recruits seemingly want to go to the biggest program that they can get to. Bijan Robinson goes to Texas. Keely Ringo goes to Georgia. You look at all these big-time recruits, they're finding their first ticket out of town, trying to go to, the biggest program that they can get to. When it comes to high school basketball in Arizona and these blue-chip recruits that are consistently getting better and better, almost every single one of them wants to go to U of A. And like I said a little bit earlier, like Cameron Williams, that's pretty much like that's the last piece, right, in terms of that discussion, because it's very possible that he finds himself at a Duke or somewhere else, but Arizona's in the thick of it as well, and it seems like Arizona finds a way whenever it comes to these in-state guys to keep them home.
Yes, and if you're watching this stream live right now, please leave a like, drop a comment in the chat about your reaction to this commitment for the University of Arizona. If you're new to the AZ Wildcats podcast, please subscribe to this channel. We cover all things Arizona Wildcats athletics, post-games for basketball, pre-games for basketball, watch-alongs for basketball, and football by that same token. So make sure to check out everything we're doing here at the AZ Wildcats pod. And real quick, before we get to what happened to the game we love to end this podcast, Damon, I wanted to give a quick brief rundown of the actual skill sets that Cameron Holmes possesses. I'll start on offense. I think I was kind of surprised at how good he is at creating his own shot, because he's not quite as, I'll say, green in terms of shot creation as a Carter Bryant was coming to Arizona, but I wouldn't say it's his strong suit. In fact, I think it's a reason he might end up staying a second year at Arizona. If he does, would be because he's not nearly as proficient as his counterparts at creating his own shot off the dribble. He can do that. If you watch his highlights, you can see him do that, whether it's a through-the-leg step back or, a shot fake sidestep three. He can create his own shot off the dribble. It's just not what he's best at. He's a really good spot-up shooter, though. Open, contested, on the wing, from the corner. He's a really good spot-up shooter. He's also got a high motor. He's not the best athlete you've ever seen, but he's a damn good one. He crashes the boards really hard. He has multiple put-back dunks on his highlight as well. I think him being a lefty also adds a little bit of creativity to his game. He can be a little bit more versatile, I think, despite being a lefty. And I think offensively, what stands out to me most is that he's kind of a connector. And what I think is important about that, Damon, is when you have so many moving pieces like Arizona's going to have this upcoming season, having a guy that can mold his game to any type of play style because he is so well-rounded is going to be huge. And I think a guy like Cameron Holmes can do that. He's really proficient in transition as well. And defensively, I think his best trait is just being active. He's extremely active in the passing lanes. He knows where to be positionally. And I'm very excited about his potential as a two-way guy as well. But I'm most excited, Damon, to talk about what happened to our game, the game that we love. Because this is something you and I were talking about pre-show. Obviously, this is Sunday, November 9th, football Sunday. The Cardinals are playing, but
the Lord's Day.
Yes, the Lord's Day. People are not necessarily
Dolphins
tapped in.
Beat the Bills. Woo! Woo!
Fins up, man. Fins up. But people are not necessarily locked in on college basketball recruiting November 9th right now. But it used to not be that way. It used to be you had National Signing Day. Players would be rumored to go to a school all year. You didn't have these leaks on social media. You really, truly had no clue, unless you had insider knowledge, as to where a player was going. There was the National Signing Day, theatrical presentation of it all, where you would sit down at a folding table with a tarp over it with some hats, and everybody from your town and the news would be there, and you'd pick a hat, and it would be your moment. It would be your singular moment. You share it with no one else.
Yeah.
That's not how it happens nowadays. Nowadays, you got guys like Trilly Donovan, who does good work. I'm not trying to poo-poo Trilly Donovan, but what I am saying is you have people leaking information, ruining the surprise, and also there's just no ceremony to any of it. This one didn't even get a graphic. It was just Cameron Holmes is committed to the University of Arizona, tweeted out. Not from him personally, just from League Ready and rivals. And I think I want the romanticism back. I want the hat picking. I want the tension. I want the suspense. I want the moment of it all. Am I crazy, Dog?
You're not, Kevin. You're not Kevin Thomas. I definitely think, there was something to be said about just the way things used to be, right? And tuning into an ESPNU, not even an ESPN, an ESPNU,
Yeah.
and getting a nice college commitment done. A Raleigh Alkins comes to mind. I know he didn't end up even coming to Arizona, but a Tease Tabor as well at the Under Armour All-American game. I mean, the highs of those moments, there's almost nothing that beats that. When you have a nationally televised guy committing, right on signing day or right around signing day. And yeah, listen, did we have to bury it, Cameron? Could we have had a little bit more of a spotlight? Yeah, we could have. Not on football Sunday? Yeah, probably. Would Damon and Kevin prefer to maybe not be talking about this right now on our off day and maybe doing it when we're working in the middle of the week? Sure.
We're always working,
but we're
Damon.
going to do it anyways. We're going to do it anyways because we just love this basketball program so much. But yeah, Kevin, what happened to the game that we love? College basketball. I mean, kids used to commit, when signing day was a thing.
Dick Wilson in the chat says, yes, Kevin, you're crazy, but you're also right about the old school commitment days.
That's fair.
I'll take that.
That's fair. I just want to say also, Kevin, in regards to, you talking about Cameron Holmes and his play style and how that kind of fits into next year. Roberto makes a good chat here in terms of Bradley Owaka, Anthony Del Orso, Evan Nelson, Koa Peat, Brayden Burries, all guaranteed gone next year. That's not even to mention Ivan Karchenkov and Dwayne Aristode. I completely agree with you that Cameron Holmes is the type of player that he could fit with anybody around him. You could put him on the floor if you want to run a small lineup, if you want to run a big lineup, it doesn't matter. He can play up, he can play down, he could probably, be a big shooting guard. He could be if you want to run like a more of a 4-guard out kind of lineup and run and gun, he can be that kind of tallest guard in that lineup for you. I think Cameron Holmes is a good fit for any type of roster, and Arizona's going to have to make a lot of personnel changes over this offseason. So yeah, this is a big time get. And I think Tommy Lloyd just continues to prove that he can recruit, in the high school ranks. People made it seem like he was just an international recruiter. And yet it seems like he continually gets better and better and better when it comes to, recruiting here domestically in the United States.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. It feels like Tommy Lloyd has finally comfortably found his pipelines, right? He's going to get all the best players in Arizona. That's a fact. He's going to tempt the waters, pardon me, in California as well with some of the best players out there. And he's also going to get some really, really high-level talented guys from Team USA, where he coaches the U19 teams as well. So it feels like Tommy Lloyd is really growing into his own as a recruiter. We knew that was the potential of a Tommy Lloyd, but I think you never truly know with a first-time head coach until you start seeing the recruits roll in. And that is the point at which we are. Koa Peat, Brayden Burries, the 2025 class is absolutely stacked and loaded, and the 2026 class is shaping up to be pretty damn good as well. Cameron Holmes is an Arizona Wildcat, and we are very happy to be talking about that here on this Sunday, despite it being football Sunday, and despite it technically being our off day. But like I said earlier, go ahead.
Wait. I do have one more thing, Kevin. Just in regards to, let's go a little inside baseball. Let's talk about my Sunday. I was at an unnamed restaurant chain here in the great city of Phoenix, Arizona. And they happen to have some NIL deals going on with some Arizona State athletes. We have the Sam Levitt QB10 chicken wrap, which of course is, that's fire. And then we have it was the Jordan Tyson touchdown chicken sandwich. Two of the corniest names of anything I've ever heard in my life. And my friend told me that last year he got the Scata burger and he almost had to go to the hospital. So don't get the Scataburger.
That's awesome. That is awesome, Damon. I mean, what are you supposed to do? Like order that stuff? Absolutely not. As Roberto says, and as you said, it is lame.
Imagine looking your waiter in the eyes. Imagine your waiter's a grown man, and you're another grown man, and you're sitting there, and you say, "Oh yeah, I'll take the Sam Levitt QB10 chicken wrap."
Cannot be me.
Snatched straight from you, right?
No, yeah, 1000%.
That's unacceptable stuff. Unacceptable stuff. Definitely could never be me ordering those items at an unnamed restaurant here. But yeah, appreciate everybody for being here in the chat. We love you guys for hanging out with us on a Sunday, on a football Sunday, talking a little bit of Arizona Wildcats basketball, because what's more important than Arizona Wildcats basketball when it's all said and done? Of course, you can follow me at Damon Dog. That's CWG. You can follow Kevin at Kevo Post. That's KEVOPOSTS. And you can follow us at PHNX_Wildcats pod. Appreciate everybody for joining this one. Kevin, anything else before we get out of here today?
No, shout out to everybody that tuned in today. Also wanted to bring up Neko Akola's comment that says, I think Cam Holmes will help recruit Cam Williams to Zona. And I think that's also a part of the roster turnover, right? A power forward like Cam Williams. There will be open spots in the front court for him. So I think pairing him with a Cam Holmes makes all the sense in the world. But as Damon said, one step closer to a loaded 2026 class. Very happy that Cameron Holmes has chose the correct college for his college basketball development, Damon.
Yeah, absolutely. We will be back, of course, tomorrow at 2 p.m., giving you an Arizona Wildcats 2 p.m. show. And then, we have a Tuesday post-game show for Arizona playing Northern Arizona, the Lumberjacks. It means everything, in-state rivalry. That'll be a post-game, but we'll be live on a Monday at 2 p.m. In the meantime, everybody be there for that. Hit the like on this video. Appreciate everybody for showing love and making this chat so fun, making this show so fun. We appreciate you guys. We'll catch you next time. And until then, peace out. Bear down.
And go Cats. Cameron Holmes, welcome home.
We all silly like the mayor.